I'm Melanie Johnson along with my co-host Jen Foster. We are both 13-time best-selling authors. We've published over 2,500 books and made all of our authors #1 bestsellers. We own Elite Online Publishing. If you want to become a best-selling author, look us up at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Now, welcome to the podcast that shares secrets from top industry experts that show you how to get lasting success and results. This is the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hi, welcome. It's Melanie Johnson along with Jen Foster for another great show. Hi, Jen.
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
All right. You know what? I just want to subscribe. We have a great show. And you know how everyone wants to have a website? Like you have to have a website if you're starting a new company, you have a company, but then that's only half the battle, right? Get the website done. But then how do people find your website? You don't want it just there. It's not going to do you any good. So we're going to learn the secrets behind making your website work for you and creating business from your website. But first, I want to remind you to subscribe to our podcast, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment, share the podcast with someone that you know that would be helpful for them. And we always love to hear from you. So we have John Vuong with us today, and he is an SEO expert. Do you not know what SEO is? I don't blame you if you don't know. Search engine optimization, which means how do you get your website found? How does Google know to show your website up when they're searching for that thing? So like if you're trying to find a publisher, we want you, when you put in, self-publishing Houston, we want our website, Elite Online Publishing, to pop up #1. So you see us right away. So John's going to tell us how to do that today. Welcome, John. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Jen and Melanie. I'm excited to share some insights and knowledge regarding search engine optimization for your audience members.
Awesome. Well, John, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this business.
Okay, perfect. So in 2013, that's when I started this company. But prior to that, I actually worked at a company, as you know, traditional media, Yellow Pages, so the phone directory. And today, I'm not sure how they're doing, but I think Google kind of taken over and replaced what traditionally how people were searching for business owners, right? And while I was there, a lot of my customers at that time where I was working with thousands of local business owners, they were telling me like frustrated with the return on investment. They were advertising, spending a lot of money on print and also their Yellow Pages platform, but they weren't getting the same kind of returns they were getting maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. So as you know, more and more people are inclined to searching things because it's easier, it's faster, and it's more convenient, right? And they feel like it's getting the best kind of results because they believe Google has done their vetting and trying to position those websites by authoritative figures and experts, right? So what I kind of knew was there was an opportunity. There were a lot of people interested to learn how to, capitalize on getting found and get more leads online. And then that's where I jumped in. And I was more of a sales and marketer at that time. And I transitioned to more of a business owner over the years. But I didn't really understand the SEO space. I just knew there was a demand. So I had to go in and get my foot wet and learn it so that after getting all these clients signed up, helping them discover how to really rank them.
So what are you seeing the trends now? I guess questions are, what do you see like you should have on your website to help Google find you? Are there certain tips and tricks of content we should have on there? Let's start with that.
Yeah, definitely. So building a website, as you know, it may take you time, just like publishing a book, right? It takes a lot of due diligence to figure out what the look, feel, content, images, what do you want to tell those audience members, right? And then really understanding who your ideal customer is. So without knowing that, it's very difficult. So maybe early on, if you're just starting off, you may want to put some surveys out there to find out or ask some of your close friends, colleagues, close relations, people that might have better insight as to where do you want to drive your business, right? Find who your customers are. But if you've been in business in bricks and mortar or service based for many years, you kind of know who your customers are, right? So create a profile, understand who they are, and then create some content pieces to drive home how do you attract more of those type of clients, right? So creating content is great, but publishing it so that people can amplify it, position yourself as the expert, do as much due diligence in terms of, I would rather put more depth, well-researched content in place with a lot of references versus very thin content with frequency, right? Work on making sure that you're positioning yourself as that expert, right? And that's just the content piece, right? And then of course there's a whole SEO structure piece so that Google can then understand that you are well positioned. So building a website has a lot of foundational things, like making sure your website's fast, clean, has proper title tags, URL structure, secure website, mobile friendly, mobile first. Google's always updating their algorithm, right? And what you need to really understand is foundationally figure out who your customers are and speak to them, and don't speak to Google.
Right.
Google will figure that out, right?
Right.
Because of their rank brain out, like they're smart, right? They're using, you know, their AI all the time, right? So what you need to do is figure out who your customers are and just speak to them and continually focus on how you position yourself as the expert, right?
Yeah, I love how you started with content because, well, even before you said content is the customer. Who's the profile, right? Your avatar or your best client, like building that and targeting that person with the content. I love how you said that because I think a lot of times people miss that and they say, well, you know, everyone needs my stuff, or I service anyone who wants to write a book. Well, no, you have a specific profile, you have a specific person, and building that avatar, building that person and saying like you're speaking to that person, that's how you write a really good book. And that's how you write a really good website, is speaking or content or creating content, whether it's a video or anything, right? So I love how you focus on that first, is building that profile, that avatar, and that perfect client or the client who you want to be your best client. And then you target them. I think that's great to start with that and building the content.
And really understanding like the journey that consumer is going through, because you don't know what kind of content they're going to consume. Video, social media, so it could be audio, it could be images, and then of course written content. And try to put in as many of the variations of those forms within your website, because you don't know what kind of customer is comfortable absorbing that content, right? Are they really inclined with listening or watching something versus reading the content? Because Google will take into a lot of factors, and time spent on the website, how many clicks going throughout your website is very important as well. So there's other factors outside of just producing good content, right? How it's structured. And then that journey. So are they early stages, like they're just information gathering, or are they really looking at like your product and service at this time, right? And then are they close to that buying behavior, right? Close to that funnel where they're gonna do that transaction. So figure out which keywords and terms they're gonna be searching as well. Like this whole space of SEO, there's not just one thing that has to be done. It's fairly complex, very similar to writing a book.
Yeah. So what would you say would be the first thing to do if you said, I'm going to do SEO today? What's the number one thing to do? And you've never done SEO before. What would you do? Or who would you hire? What would you ask them to be doing? Because there's so many steps, right?
Exactly. So SEO is more of a long game. And what I always tell people to do is, if you're just starting off, find out if you have a real business or not. Figure out if it's worth your investment, because if you're willing to do this for the next 5, 10, 20 years, then for sure, SEO is the best ROI. But if you don't even know if this is a good business to be in, and you're just starting off and you don't really have revenue because you don't know who your customers are, I would say play with ads. Figure out put some targeted ads with images and content with different call to actions, and see what works, who those clients are, before you invest solely on building a website and then focusing on making sure Google knows that you're the expert, right? So, you know, what I always tell business owners are, where are they at with their journey? Yeah. Do they want to be known as that expert? And do they want to keep doing it for many, many years? Because it's more of a long-term relationship that I'm building with clients versus ads where you're pushing ads at people. SEO is more you're pulling people into your website because Google has already positioned you as that leader, expert.
So is video just as important? So you're saying you need to have all mediums. You need to have video, you need to have articles, you need to have everything written. Is there a certain number of things that are like the magic number? Like you should have 10 videos, 10 articles, 10 blah, blah, blah to get started. What are the magic numbers?
So that's a really good question as well. So I would advise people to try things, because when you're starting off, your budget's very scarce, right? Unless you are, fully funded by VCs or you're backed by someone, you don't have the capabilities to do everything the best you can. So focus on a few, see what works. And what I would really focus on is figure out where your real customers are consuming content. If it's social and it's a product base, go after influencers. How do they consume the content? If it is more video content, how-to videos, that would be invest more time on educating those consumers, dripping them with a subscription somehow, and then offering them some products afterwards, right? With offers.
Yeah.
So depending on what your product and service is, but figuring that out early days versus spinning your wheel, because a lot of people still spend a lot of money on trade shows, right? Still spend a lot of money on radio ads. Like these are traditional medias that amplify your message, but you're only hitting them at that one given time if they're listening at that moment or if they're attending at that one spot. However, right now what we have is on Google and on YouTube, on podcasts, people can consume that content at their will, whenever they want, right? Same as search, right? And that's the difference.
Yeah, I love how you said where they hang out. So knowing after you've got your profile and your avatar, who your ideal client is where are they? As far as social media or online, or maybe they are at the trade show, right? Where are they? Are they on TikTok? Are they on Snapchat? Well, Snapchat's kind of going out, but are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Where are they, or where are they hanging out? Are they on Twitter? And then making sure that you're there and your content is there.
Yeah. And how much do you think you should start to spend for an ad budget? So again, like kind of give us the range of, hey, I'm just starting out, I don't have much money to spend, or I have a little bit of a budget and I have a good sized budget. What do you recommend people start with?
So I'm a very strong component of search engine optimization, which is more of the long-term strategy to position yourself as the expert. With ads, it all depends, right? Because again, the good thing about ad targeting and some of YouTube videos and Facebook and Instagram is you can really refine your demographic, target audience, geo target the demographics and persona in a really refined level, right? The challenge is, how do you portray a really good message for them to actually click? So you have to have some sort of offer, right? Because you're disrupting someone's attention at that given time to then hopefully click on it, where then hopefully you're asking them to do something, right? So again, I would say if you have hundreds of dollars, play with that money. If you have thousands of dollars, I would say, that's where you want to take it to the next level, because play with it with a couple hundred. If it works, then invest more, right? Because money is, it's very hard when you're starting off, right? To fork up money without good returns, right? But you need some sort of investment to play with what works and what doesn't. And that's the best way to do it, because I've done it myself. I spent a lot of money on social, trade shows, doing a lot of different sales, advertising, right? I know in a personal level what works and what doesn't for my industry, for my market. So unless you do it for your industry, your market, no one's going to tell you how to do it and what works, right? Your competitors definitely won't tell you. So the only best way to do it is do it yourself.
Yeah, I like that. Well, let's talk about local SEO for those who have a brick and mortar or have a business with an address, or even like us with an online company. We do have location. What's the local SEO look like?
So local is a little bit different than more the organic, natural, right? Local means more the map and the the Google 3-pack, as well as any geo target after the keyword. So if they are looking for location based, like Houston, or for me in Toronto, people tend to search local and shop local, right? They even might do a lot of search inquiries for information, but without the geo target. but when they're ready to buy, they typically search local. So what you want to do is be found when they're ready to buy, but also be found throughout the journey, right? But it's more important than ever to be found when they're ready to buy, right?
Right.
But don't just focus on that, because you might have to drip them with a lot of blog content to keep them subscribed for some information to position yourself like when they're ready, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is first own your Google My Business page, optimize it with images, continually posting once a week, making sure you have a good reputation, like get more good solid reviews. But also make sure that everything in terms of messaging is consistent throughout all mediums, right? Not just your website, social media pages, but every form of content, right? And amplify that message. So what I mean by amplify is get that message out there to other people. So link building is a very strong indicator to for Google to know if you are someone of an expert, right? And that's the only way Google knows, because they're crawling websites daily, right? And if you're having other people that are in your industry referencing your website, that's what you want, right? Someone in your niche, someone that also has a high number of audience or organic traffic linking to you with an anchor text being either your brand hyperlink or a keyword. So I would say focus on your brand, because you don't want to keyword stuff, and really focus on just getting your message out there by doing good, authentic work, publishing great content, and letting other people know who you are.
Yeah. I like, you said something about posting on your Google My Business page. Now that's kind of fairly new. So let's talk about that for a minute. For those who don't maybe know what a Google My Business page is, it's the Google map, right? The local map that comes up when people are searching locally or putting in your city name. So let's talk about the post. Like what is that? What is a Google post?
So it's very similar to how Facebook, Instagram, Twitter has their own social media platform where you can post things, right? It's free. It's for users who are maybe searching, knowing your brand, or there's hashtags, right? So it's another way for people to search relevant content. So just amplifying that message and getting more awareness out there. You're allowed to post as many times as you want. But what happens is after 1 week, it actually gets taken down, right? So what you need to do is at least refresh content once a week on Google My Business, but also keep all your social media pages consistent with fresh new content that's relevant. And I know it's very difficult when you're starting off, but I would say make sure you schedule things in and make sure you are consistent with doing that, but providing good, rich content, and make storytelling personal. Just information that resonates with your audience members. And you might not want to amplify it to everyone. Just amplify it to your real audience members, because you don't really care about the other people that don't care about you, right? Just focus on who your customers are and speak to them.
Yeah. Define what an online reputation management is. What is that, and how do they do it?
Definitely. So it's just a fancy word for testimonials and white papers and case studies. What it is third-party reviews, right? And Google My Business has that review portion. So does Facebook. It allows you to write a review. There's all these review sites out there. Look for the ones that are relevant to your industry. If you're in trades, there's one. If you're in health, there's one, right? And then, of course, there's broad directories like Yellow Pages or Yelp. There's so many different third parties. It's much more impactful when people see reviews not on your website, but on other websites, because people actually believe those third parties more than a friend telling them, because they want to fact check themselves today. Right? Because of disposal of how fast and rich the content is with Google, right? They feel Google has done their best vetting business owners, and they feel Google is representing those business owners the best way they can.
Yeah, I like that. And I think reputation management too, like speaking of that, what happens when you get a 1-star? Like what should you do?
So make it consistent to comment and provide feedback for every single review. Most platforms like Google allows you to comment even if you get a 5-star review or a 1-star review. Go back and start writing comments and thanking people for whatever review it is, but make it a practice to start getting reviews, because it's another touch point of people decision process, right? Like not only do they check out your website, they want to know, like, you know your stuff and what has some of the other clients said about you, right?
Yeah.
So do other people back you up, right? So, and then also have like video testimonials, white papers, things that actually are other things that may keep people more sticky, because you've already won them over by coming to your website. Now, how do you convert them to want to buy from you?
Right.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, it makes lots of sense. Well, and the same with Amazon reviews, right? I mean, with books, we have reviews, and you might get a 1-star, you might get a 5-star. I don't think on Amazon you can leave comments. So if you get a 5-star and they're all 5 stars, I mean, what can you say besides thank you? I mean, it's kind of, you don't want to be, thank you on all your reviews. So what kind of things can you say?
So personalize, right? As much as possible. And get to know your customers, right? Like, why did they write you a review? And then figure out what can you do better next time, right? Like figure out ways to, as much as, thank yous, try to figure out why they wrote that review in the first place, and then how long they've been with you, or what kind of service and products they bought from you. Like, there's ways to position yourself so that people who are reading, because now it's public information, right? And really focus on genuine, real reviews. Don't try to buy reviews, because there's a lot of sites that do that. Really be as authentic and genuine as possible, because people will know if it's fake or real. And try not to just get, like, if you're a real business, you're never going to be a perfect business. There's no way you're going to get all 5 stars, right? So really focus on authentic ones. There's going to be people that write 2-3 stars. That's okay. And it's okay for you to write comments upon that, right? And really find out, what have we kind of let you down, and how can we improve? That shows that you actually care.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times you'll get a 3-star review and it'll be a positive review. Like, there's nothing bad in the review and the comments of the words, but they only chose 3 stars because to them that means it's great, not amazing, but great. So even just good acknowledging that, and then maybe, like you said, asking, how can we improve?
Yeah,
exactly.
So you know so much about this, and Jen and I have, Jen used to do websites, so she's more of an expert than I am. So I want to ask you, have we forgotten to ask you anything? Is there anything else that you know that we don't know that we should be asking you about that you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I really believe like search engine optimization or building a website is so important in today's day and age, right? There's so many different forms of content. There's a lot of clutter out there, right? Because you don't know what people are consuming at will, right? Like, when they're ready to buy, what journey do they go through? Like, do they find an ad on TV or YouTube videos or Netflix or whatever, right? Product placement or Instagram posts or Facebook ad. Like, you have to hit them in so many different spots. I always look at like traditional media and how did our grandparents survive without computers, right? And even like the internet today, right? Like, information is so easy to access, right? So how did they survive and grow and thrive, right? So as business owners, I think foundationally, you need to figure out, how do you build strong products and services, build strong relationships with those customers, and take care of them, run a really good business, right? And if you're doing that, everything else will take care of itself.
I like that. Well, tell us, John, where people can go to find you and get more information and hire you as an SEO expert.
Definitely. So you can check out my website. It's www.localseosearch.ca. If you do want to reach out to me on a more personal level, you can find me on the team page of the website, and you can find John Vuong and connect with me on LinkedIn.
Sure. Well, I hope everyone took notes. And if we went too fast, go back and listen to this again. Take a bunch of notes down, so then you will become the expert. And even if you hire somebody, then you know what to ask. You can hire John, he can help you. But then you know what you're looking for. I always think it's good if you understand the process as well, then you can hire the best person to do it and help your company. So thanks for joining us again. Remember, if you're looking to write a book, like John's working on his book right now, to contact us at Elite Online Publishing. And remember to subscribe to our podcast and share it to all your friends. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Bye. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Jen and Melanie. Thank you.
Thanks. Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.